Groupthink, as defined by Britannica, is a mode of thinking in which individual members of a small cohesive group tend to accept a viewpoint or conclusion that represents a perceived group consensus, whether or not the group members believe it to be valid, correct, or optimal. Similar to the bandwagon fallacy, this state of mind also involves an individual participating in a movement or trend they may not fully understand or agree with. However, it exists in a much deeper psychological and emotional form, having greater implications for those in the group and potentially bigger consequences for everyone else. Whether it be a political party, a cult, or even participating in a lifestyle trend promoted by an influencer, groupthink is a very widespread and increasingly common issue as the internet and social media, along with the influencers that come with it, grow exponentially popular and influential amongst the people, often being the gateway into discovering said groups. Having taken a variety of humanities, psychology, and logic classes, and with the numerous personal experiences I've had with individuals who are affected by groupthink and its effects, I've developed a deep understanding of it and the effects of it. During my speech, I'll be covering how groupthink has grown to become such a prevalent issue, and that what it has led to as a result, and why it's a problem that will only continue to grow, but ultimately how we can take action against said groups, or at least attempt to spread awareness to those participating in them. So to set the stage for how and why many individuals from this generation have fallen deeper into the Republican groupthink that has been developing, we need to go back around 10 or so years to the beginning of the YouTube alt-right pipeline being formed. And so, as explained by the New York Times, it goes as follows. An aimless young man, usually white, frequently interested in video games, visits YouTube looking for direction or distraction and is seduced by a community of far-right creators. Straightforward as that may sound, in reality it is a lot more subtle and deep-rooted than that. To add needed context, YouTubers such as Leafy is Here, iDubbbz, and PewDiePie, just to name a few, were some of the biggest and most influential creators from 2014 to 2019. However, rather than garnering a platform based on regular commentary or reaction content, much of the content directly revolved around going after and harassing individuals, virtually promoting ignorant, racist, and sexist ideologies and all-around toxicity towards others, all under the guise of dark humor or not for snowflakes. Although what may have started out as a joke for some would eventually turn into subconscious internalized thoughts for others, without realizing they were slowly lowering the bar for what they consider to be actually offensive. As any algorithm does, YouTube recommends content based on interactions with other videos, and what would begin to happen is viewers would be recommended similar yet slightly edgier videos that they may be more focused on the idea of anti-snowflake culture. From there, perhaps of a video of like so-and-so owns this person on this topic would make their way into their feed. Basically, it's only deeper into the rabbit hole from there on out. However, that's a really oversimplified explanation, as it exists a lot subtler and a lot of the time presents itself in a more reasonable fashion than it actually is. And now more than ever though, it's less like a pipeline and more blatant propaganda, with apps like TikTok, influencers such as Joe Rogan or the Paul brothers actively pushing the false narratives and using red herrings as reasons to support a certain mindset. However, a lot of what drives this particular case of groupthink is the abundance of toxic masculinity that exists in media and pop culture, with a hustler mindset being all too common and misinterpreted, leading to a warped sense of worldview for many of these people who exist in the space, and ultimately drives many decisions relating to political affiliation, self-identity, societal beliefs in general. Whether it comes down to a lack of media literacy, a lack of therapy, or due to ever radicalizing tensions, whatever the reason is, according to the Pew Research Center, today 53% of Republicans have a very unfavorable opinion of the Democratic Party, which is up from 21% 3 decades ago, which does happen to coincide with the rise of popular media sharing devices and the internet as a whole. And aside from propelling a major portion of the generation into a GOP groupthink, which according to Newsweek, voters aged 18 to 21 lean Republican by 11.7 points now. When considering the vast reaches of the internet, it's no surprise lifestyle and clothing brands are also beginning to take a different shape as well. With influencers often being paid to showcase the newest collection and trends being constantly advertised, the current state of consumerism has also had very adverse effects on society. With ads always demonstrating the latest trend everyone is participating in, the newest, lowest deal yet, or this new watch for only $9.99 on TikTok shop that you'll love, we are constantly being told that buying the newest products will make us feel better even if we can't afford to do so, which according to the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston have begun to show as early as 2023, having increased about 40% from 2 years earlier. However, it's estimated there's 79 active buy now, pay later users in the US alone, Doom spending is a term coined for the recent trend of individuals spending money that they don't have out of worry of the future. According to NBC News, 19% of adults indicate they are doom spending or making impulsive purchases driven by fear and anxiety about the future. Essentially, shopping is becoming an ever normalized form of stress management, and due to capitalism always encouraging us to be good consumers and keep in with the latest trends, this seems like one that will only increase. In addition to doom spending itself, buying now services like Temu, Shein, and AliExpress not only source from unethical manufacturers that practice child laboring and unsafe working conditions. Many of the materials are low quality, come from factories that contribute directly to the global warming crisis, and again, they're low quality products that will most likely be thrown away at some point anyways. All this to say, we are rapidly approaching a point of no return in terms of stability, and we're approaching the breaking point in which everything this country has stood for the past 150 years will inevitably crash at some point. We are spending money that we don't have at an alarming rate to stay in touch with the group majority. We are leaning into the word of others without any thought, simply based off of our fondness of them. Yet we can't name one policy or reason to vote other than because so-and-so said to. And this is only within the first 40 years of the internet existing, but closer to around 15 or so in the way we know it as today. Yet with the rampant acceleration of AI and the ever-growing reaches of social media and the increasing presence it has in our lives, what will happen over the next 15? Although nothing is guaranteed, it is likely that things will only get more expensive, quality will only go down, the use of buy now, pay later will only increase, and it's also likely the use of politics incorporated into our media will only continue to grow as well. So what will we do? Although it's not as simple as it sounds, and in reality it will most likely take years for us to really get back to a place of normalcy, where it starts as regrounding oneself in reality and a place of importance of self-actualization in society. We are the culture where this stuff pops in. We inherently have the power to control the narrative, yet we actively choose to go deeper into consumerism, identity politics, and choose to ignore the signs presented right in front of us. It's easy to have an out-of-sight, out-of-mind approach when dealing with many of the issues currently plaguing society.
Jay, I appreciate you.